Hi, so we are going to look at Code.org's Advanced Placement Computer Science Principles, Unit 6, Lesson 3, Lists Practice. And I just opened this for the very first time. I have not looked at this before, so we're going to walk through this together, see what's in here. It says, Lists in action. Choose one of the apps below in order to practice the steps involved in its development. List development. There is a sequence of 10 levels associated with this practice activity. Once you choose the app that you want to develop, please select the same app on all the following levels. If you want to change apps, please start back at level 1 in order to follow that development sequence. So I'm just going to click on the first one. I'm not going to read through these. It's called Bird of a Feather. Build an app that helps a user to browse birds and select or save favorites. So we're going into Birds of a Feather. This takes us to bubble number 1. It says Birds of a Feather. Click the shaded bar below to reveal the user story for this app. So I'm going to click the shaded bar. It says when developing software, creators often rely on user stories, descriptions, and needs from the perspective of someone using the app in development. They often try to take in as many points of view as possible so that the final product appeals to a wide variety of users. Throughout these app development levels, there will be several user stories that will be shared and which will be translated into tasks for you, me, to accomplish. Here is the overarching user story for the app. I love bird watching and am interested in getting more people into it. An app that introduces people to the most common birds and allows them to save their favorites would go a long way to getting people more interested. Do this. The app to the left is a completed version of the one you will develop. Play around with the app to see how it works. Try entering different values to see how that changes the output on the screen. So let's do that right now. I've not used this app, so I'm going to rearrange my window just slightly so this looks bigger for this recording, and then we're going to play with the app. Okay. This is about as big as I can make it. I'm going to run the app. It said Birds of a Feather. I noticed this photo changed when we press run. I'm going to reset. It's on the yellow. It looks like a finch. I'm going to press run. Looks like common raven. Okay, I'm going to reset it. It looks like it's back to the yellow finch. I'm going to run it. It's on the common raven. Okay. I'm guessing these are buttons here on the left and right. If I reset it, we can find the names of the button, right button, left button, name label, bird image, ID image 1, label 1, label 2, label 3, favorites, ID notification, favorite something, insert button, ID position. Okay, so there's a lot of different things going on here. So I'm going to click. So it's changing the photo and the name of the animal, the bird, dark-eyed junco, double-crested cormorant, eastern screech owl, apparently it's not working, western whippoorwill, elegant sunbird, elegant trogon, emperor goose, flame bowerbird, fork-tailed flycatcher, Gambel's quail, gold white eye, not working, golden finch, great blue heron, great curassow, great frigate bird, great hornbill, great poto, a lot of great ones, great white pelican. Are these alphabetical? Greater flamingo, harpy eagle, Hawaiian stilt. Yep, those are stilt legs, aren't they? Hoatzin, Kapatok. Okay, what happens when I click Add to Favorites? I put a bunch of little happy faces down here, put Kapatok here. What if I hit it again? add to favorites. Oh, puts it again. This time it says nice choice. I wonder if these comments are random. Add to favorites again. Insert at number 1, 2, or 3. Okay, so if I go to King Vulture, I can insert. Hey, this button disappeared. Insert at number 3, that's a cool bird. Laughing Falcon, picture doesn't work. Laughing Kookaburra. Lear's Macaw. Insert, can I insert that at number 2? Yeah. So this is interesting. You choose the number here where you want to insert it, and then you click here for the button. It looks like there's a little arrow. What happens? Does the arrow change? No. So I'm going to insert the little spotted kiwi at slot 1. Oh, it inserted and it slid them down. Oh, okay. So it's not replacing. Macaroni Penguin. What if I put it in spot 2? It doesn't replace the cockapoo. Right, because the cockapoo is still on the list. It pushes it down. So this is how lists work if you insert something. So let's think what we've got here. We've got a list of names of the animals. We've got a list of the pictures of the animals. So that's at least 2 arrays. An array of strings, an array of the names of the animals, and the indexes have to line up. So this is probably pulling the data from a database, from like a table. It's grabbing all the names, it's grabbing all the pictures into 2 separate lists. And so that is similar to an app we saw earlier, yesterday or the day before. Then what are we doing here? Then we have a short list here that has at least 3 items. Can we click on the 1, 2, or 3? No, these are just labels. Okay. Can we go back? Yep. How far back can we go? We can go back to the American goldfinch. So that's the first one alphabetically. And I wonder how far we can go forward. I can go pretty far. I don't want to look at that. So anyway, we have a list of the pictures. We have a list of the names. We have a list of the ones that we're looking at. We have a drop down here. We have a button here. So how many buttons do we have? 1, 2, 3 buttons. So 3 events plus a drop down. If we click right, that changes the index and it refreshes the screen. It shows us the new name of the animal and the new picture. Okay. And then let's reset this. Reset. There's an add to favorites button. So let's go back to the beginning of the list. American goldfinch. If we click add to favorites, what if we say insert at position 3 right now? So it can't insert it at position 3 because there's nothing in the list. Bald eagle. So we can add it to the favorites, but we can't insert it. We could insert it at position 1, and it says that's a cool bird. So it has a little comment that it adds, like a random comment that it adds. I like the blue jay. So if we do add to favorites, it's going to add it to the top, right? No, added it to the bottom. So the add button must be append, but then it disappears once the list of favorites has 3 items in it. So that button becomes hidden. We have the insert at number button, which stays there. There's a drop down. So when we select a bird, it reads the number on the drop down. It gets the index for the bird, and it inserts that into the list of favorites at that position. And the other ones just move down. I imagine that the list just gets longer and longer. You wouldn't really have to delete items from the list. So, all right, I think we've looked at this for a while, like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 minutes. That's really how long sometimes you have to look at the app to understand really everything that's happening. The app to the left is a completed version of the one that you will develop. Play around with the app, see how it works, try entering different values to see how it changes the output of the screen. What's the purpose of this app? Well, it lets you look through birds, learn the names of the birds, and then save the names of some of your favorite birds. It does not allow you to rearrange the list easily. I mean, you could go back, you could restart it and arrange it differently. Describe the functionality of the app. How did these design decisions fit the purpose? What are the inputs and outputs? So we already talked about that. The inputs are, you've got the 2 buttons here, and then you've got this button, and if we reset it, you've got also the add to favorites button. What are the outputs? So the outputs are these 2 boxes here, plus the list here, plus the little comment down here, plus kind of an output is when this button disappears. Click the shaded bar below to reveal helpful tips about how to navigate and complete these practice levels. Okay, how do the practice levels work? There are 7 practice levels that should be completed in order to complete the app. They are intended to be followed in order. Move from part 1 to part 7. Therefore, as you move from level to level, make sure that you select the Mind Ease selection on the choice screen. We're not doing Mind Ease though, so these directions are from an earlier lesson. But we have to move from level to level. We have to keep selecting Bird of a Feather. As you move through each level, the code that you create, alter, or remove will travel with you. That means as you write code and implement cool features in your app, you will be building on the work you have completed previously. You will see a pop-up on the levels that will alert you about the shared code the first time you visit the level. Okay? And I think we're done with this level. So there's a finish button. You can click on finish, continue, and then we click finish again. Lists practice milestone 1, and it just reminds us here to use the same app as we were already looking at. So we're going to click on that app. And there's the little instructions, assigning values to lists from a data set. Yep, we know this is a workspace that's going to be across all the levels. Analyzing user stories. I want an app that uses a real data set of birds that has their names and images of them. The milestone that you are accomplishing on this level is directly related to the user story seen here. By completing the tasks below, we will have accomplished the milestone and provided a new feature for the users. Milestone 1 of 2. Let's see if we can go through this slowly. Initialize the names and pictures lists from the 100 Birds of the World data set. Okay, so names, here's names. So we want to grab the names from the data set. Let's click on data and see if birds of the world, so it's already selected birds of the world. Let's look at the list, birds of the world. We have names, and all the way to the right we have image of bird, image of range, diet, primary color, conservation status, scientific name. So here's name. So if we go back to code, I think we have to look at the show me where. Well, we know the show me where is here. Use the get column function to initialize the names from the name column in the 100 birds of the world data set. Get column will be the whole name column from a data set. It will save it to a list. Here's an example. var names equals get column. So I'm going to close this toolbox and space equals, trying to space equals, space equals, space get column. This has to be typed exactly with spaces, capital BIRDS, of the world, comma, quote, name. I don't know why it has a red on there. Get column, 100 birds of the world. Oh, I'm missing a parenthesis at the end, aren't I? There we go. Okay, so it makes it like that. Now let's run it. If we show names as a variable here in a watcher, and then if we run it, it got it. So you'll see that whole list is there. Go ahead and hit reset, run it again. See, it grabs the list. It's even telling us there's 98 items in the list. So let's do the same thing for pictures. Does it tell us that as a direction? Use the get column function to initialize the pictures list from the image of birds column in the 100 birds of the world data set. Example, var pictures, we got that, is equal to get column, whoops, Control Z to undo, get column, birds of the world, same data set, comma, and we want the image of bird. Don't forget the parenthesis at the end there. Okay, so let's get rid of this watcher and let's put in a watcher for pictures. Pictures. So if we reset this and then run it, so it grabs a list of all the pictures. That's a lot of pictures. Okay, that's a long list, and some of those images don't work anymore, right? Okay, so we have this one done. Wait, I think. Nope, we don't have it done. And before we go on, I want to do a watcher for both of those variables. So names. Oops, let's reset. Names and pictures. There. So before we run it, they're both undefined. When we run it, it grabs from the list, and so it makes our two arrays. And then those are the two arrays that are used to show us the pictures and to give us the name of the birds. So let's reset it. Going back to the directions or instructions, initialize the index variable. So I think index would probably just start at 0, but we'll see. The value represents the bird that is first displayed when the app is started. Select a number between 0 and 97. These represent all of the entries in the list. For example, we could start with index number 10. Well, I I guess we can start with bird number 10. I'm not sure why I wouldn't start with bird at index 0, but bird at index 10, it's okay. So let's run it. Reset, run. Let's do a watcher for index and put the watcher at the top. So let's reset. How do we put the, can we rearrange these watchers? Index. I want that one to be at the top. It does not look like we can rearrange them. I'm going to close the names watcher and the pictures watcher, so index is at the top. Then I'm going to put names back in after that. You know what I want? It looks like we're going to have a favorites variable and a notifications variable. So I'm going to put those in. Are there any other variables? No. Okay, so favorites, that would be this little list here, right? And notifications, that would be down here, the little notification. So I think I'll put favorites and then notifications there. And then also names for the birds and the pictures of the birds. Okay, now let's run it. So the index is 10. We have our two lists, but there's nothing in our notifications. Well, notifications is a list, so we're going to have to make a list for that. Test your code. Choose the debug console at the bottom of the screen. Next to the arrow character, write the following. Write names 20 to print out the element in the names list at index 20. Oh, interesting. Okay, so I'm going to close my names list and my pictures lists, and I'm going to write names square bracket 20 square bracket. Add that. Oh, and it's got it. Common raven is the bird at. So I'm going to reset it, run it. Yeah, the common raven is the one at 20. How about if we do pictures and then 20? I keep on getting the braces because I've been pressing the shift key. Alright, so let's take a look here and see. I think we've done everything on this level. Oh wait, debug console. Oh yeah, common raven. So it's showing us how to do that. Write pictures 20 to print out the element in the names list at index 20. The console should print this. Okay. Write pictures 20. Pictures 20. Oh, in the debug console? I don't know that you can write that in the debug console. I think they mean a watcher. Let's go back up and see. No, it says to do it in the debug console. Alright, well, that's different. I haven't done that before. So pictures 20. Enter. Oh yeah, that is a new feature to me. I have not seen that before. So you can write right into the debug console, names 20, enter. Interesting. So instead of using the watchers, you can use the debug console. Alright, good tip. Anything else on this level? We got the photos, all about birds. Alright, let's finish this level and click continue, and it'll take us back to here, milestone 1. We've finished milestone 1, and let's go to milestone 2. Click back on the birds, and it keeps our code that we already made for line 2 and line 3. I'm going to close this toolbox because we don't really need to see that. And analyzing the user stories, let's open that. I would like to display the name of the bird and an image of it on the app screen in order to help me identify the bird if I see it in the wild. So we're just reloading this picture and putting the name right here where the name label is and the bird image is. And that should happen anytime we click right or left. In fact, it's already there right now, so that's part of the design view. If we click on design view, we click on the picture, it says bird image, and it says we're already adding this image. And then if we click on here, name label, the name label is set to bird name here. So we've already got on our design view, this is our picture we start with, our default picture, and our name that we start with, our default name. So if we go to code, we're going to need to change bird image and name label. So let's scroll down. Anytime we refresh with the right button or the left button, so function, that's a function, on event, right button, on event, left button. So there's our two buttons, left button, right button. When we click them, it looks like this is milestone 3, so let's scroll up a little bit. Milestone 2, update home screen, hide element notification label. I don't know where the what's the notification label? Let's run it and see. Reset. I don't see what the notification label is. Oh yeah, notification label's here. So we're hiding that. Okay. I would like to display the name of the bird and an image of it on the app screen in order to help me identify the bird if I see it in the wild. Remember that this user story is used to create a milestone that we are trying to achieve on this level. Do milestone 2, task. Display information from the names in the screen element name label. Okay, so we're going to need a block. We're going to need to set text for the name label. So that would be a UI, a set text, right here, set text. But the directions will probably tell us exactly how to do it. So let's see. Oh yeah, it says use the set text function to display the information that is stored in names.index on the screen element name label. Show me where. Well, we already know where, which is line 15. But let's click on it and see if it points to line 15. Yeah, line 14 it's pointing. It's alright. Example. Set text, name label, names index. Okay, so we're going to grab our set text. We're going to pull it over, put it at line 15. We're going to change the ID to the name label. Where's our name label? There's our name label. We're going to change the text to names, which is our list, and whatever the index number is. Right now the index number is 10, right? Yeah. So that's square bracket index. Okay, so let's try this by running it. Press run. Oh, it says names index. Oh, no quotation marks because I don't want it to type names index in there. So that was an honest error. I didn't mean to make that. So get rid of the quotation marks. For some reason, when I click at that front quotation mark, I can't get rid of it. Let me try the back one. Backspace. I was able to get rid of that one. Now I'm going to arrow over and try to get rid of the front one. Backspace. Now I can get rid of the front one. So it comes up purple like this, names index. I'm going to reset. reset. Oh, we had it. Reset. So I have bird 10, which is the blue mannequin, but that is not the same as the yellow finch there. So we need to update the image also. It's probably not a set text, it's probably a set property. But in the directions it should tell us that. Display the information from the pictures in the screen element bird image. Right. Oh, set image URL. Okay, so we can do the set image URL. And we're going to put that line 16. Use the set image URL function to display the information that's stored in pictures image in the screen element bird's image. So set image URL bird image. So we're going to change the bird image. It's in our list. And then we're going to change this to pictures index. We don't want the quotation marks though, so I'm going to right arrow and backspace. Then I'm going to go to the left and I'm going to backspace again. Alright, so now let's reset it. Let's run it. Okay, it's got the blue mannequin. Do the buttons work yet? Ooh, the buttons do work. I didn't expect the buttons to work already. So the buttons, oop, something's wrong when we get down to the goldfinch. We get a warning. And we can go right. It has the blue jay correctly. I kind of wish it would give us the index number because that way it'd be easier to look at, but I guess we can set a watcher for what index we're at, index. So we're at index 9. Oh yeah, 10 is the blue mannequin. I guess it's mannequin. Alright, let's see if there's anything else for this level. Test your code, run the program. Your default image and text should be replaced with the bird name and image that's located in your variable. Change the value of the index variable and run the program again. So it's given us a few examples. So let's change it to 0. So index of 0 on line 4. And then reset it and run it. Okay, American goldfinch. We already did index 10. Let's do index 50 should be the little spotted kiwi. So change to index 50 and reset and run. Little spotted kiwi, that works. So it looks like it's working. So the only things we really did on this level were we added line 15 and line 16. And that makes sense because it says milestone 2 here. Alright, let's move on to the next level. So we need to click on finish and then continue and then finish. Now we're on milestone 3. We go back into the birds activity. List scrolling pattern. I thought the list already worked, but let's find out. I mean, it does seem to scroll okay. The only thing that wasn't working earlier is it wasn't going down to like, once it got to 0 it was making an error. Okay, let's see the user story. Milestone 3. When the user presses the right button, make sure they cannot scroll past the end of the list. Okay, so we need to find the right button. So here's our on event at line 19, right button, click. So right now it just says if true, index equals index plus 1. So this is where we want to put that condition. We're going to find out how long the list is, how many elements are in the list. So there's like 98 elements in this list, 98 bird names. But we're going to put in that little code that grabs the length of the list. So that would be like names.length. That's going to return 98. And then we subtract 1 because the last index number in the list is 97. And then we want to make sure that our index never gets greater than 97. Okay, I think it's going to tell us the code. So in the show me where, it's going to come down to milestone 3 right here, right? Show me where. It's going to point at milestone 3. In the on event for write button, replace the true statement with the if conditional to check that the user is not trying to navigate too far forward. If the user tries to navigate past the end of the list, there will be a runtime error. The conditional should check to see if the index value is less than names.length minus 1, which is what I said. So here's exactly what it should be. Index is less than names.length minus 1. So you're going to click where it says true on line 21. You can backspace to erase the true, and then type the word index. So that will grab the index number that we're at, space, less than sign, space, names.length, and the length of this list is 98. We just know that because when we were looking earlier at it, we could see there are 98 birds in the list, even though it says 100 birds. And we're going to subtract 1. So because the last index number, remember index numbers start at 0, they start at 0 and go all the way up to 97. So our last index number is 97. As long as the index is less than 97, we're going to add 1. So if it's 96, we can add 1. But if it gets 97 is less than 97, then it's not going to add 1. So we can press enter. It should put that into colors like this with the orange. Notice the orange box around that, and then names.length. Now when we reset it and run it, when we get to the end of the list, I don't really want to click on this 90 times. Let's change our index to 90 right here in line 4. And then when we reset it and run it, the Victoria Crown Pigeon will come up. And then we can just click write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we can't go past that. And then let's open our watcher index. So our index is at 97. Remember, since the indexes start at 0, there's actually 98 in the list because you've got to make sure to count the bird that is in slot 0. Okay, so we can't go past that. We can go back, but we can't go past that. All right. I'm guessing we're going to do the same thing for not going down past 0. Let's see. When the user presses the left button, make sure they cannot scroll before the beginning of the list. Okay, so we're still on milestone 3. But now we're looking right here, milestone 3, line 28. When the user presses the left button, left button, make sure they can't scroll before the beginning of the list. So in the on event, for the left button, replace true statement within the if conditional to check that the user is not trying to navigate too far backwards. If the user tries to navigate past the beginning of the list, there will be a runtime error. So why don't we look at that error? Let's set the index to 5. So in line 4, instead of 90, set the index to 5. Reset it and run it. So now we've got the bald eagle, which picture is not there anymore. Arctic tern is at index 4. The albatross is at index 3. The red start is at index 2. The purple gallinule is at index 1. The goldfinch is at index 0. But if we go to -1, you can see that's not going to work because our list doesn't have anything. The indexes always start at 0, so there's no negative indexes. So this is giving us a runtime error. If we go back forward, these messages are going to stay here, but at least the index is back up to 0. We can go back to 1. So the program is working still, but in an app or something, it might stop working right there. So let's take a look and see where are we going to change that. Now this looks okay. Let's reset. I'm not sure why it's giving us a red there. I'm going to ignore that for the moment. Milestone 3. So right here on line 29, we don't want the index to be less than 0. So if the index is less than, when do we want to subtract 1? As long as it is if the index is less than 1, no, if the index is greater than 0. So as long as the index is greater than 0, we can subtract 1. All right, let's take a look. Yep, there it is. Example, if the index is greater than 0. So let's reset it. Oh, we don't have to reset it. We can just run it. Run it. Now let's go backward. We'll see the index is going down. Goldfinch, it stops at goldfinch. So that's good. Yep, perfect. Okay, test your code. We tested the code. Test to see if the program stops when clicking the left button. See if it stops above. So really we tested as we did each change, and that's what you should do. Each time you make a change, you should test it and make sure it's doing what you want it to do. Now I'm going to look back just for a moment. Oh, I guess the set text and set image URL flags, that red square and the yellow triangle, are gone. Notifications we still have not done yet. Looks like that's going to be milestone 5. Okay, so we're done with this level. Click Finish, Continue, and Finish. Now we're at milestone 4. Milestone 4. All right, adding data to lists. So this must be this part over here where we're adding data to the list. Analyzing the user stories. If I like a bird, I want to be able to save it to a list of favorites so that I remember it. A top 3 list would be a nice thing to have. Milestone 4. Note you can click the instructions below to expand them to see more specific instructions. Add the selected bird to the favorites list when the user clicks heart add to favorites. Okay, so let's open that up. Well, let's see if we can first find that event, add to favorites. So let's scroll down. We have our right button event. We have our left button event at line 27. We have our favorite button event at line 35. And it even says milestone 4 there. Let's scroll down a little bit more. We also have favorite outputs, that's milestone 4. So I think we're going to work on both of these two buttons at the bottom here so that they work. All right. It says update favorites. Let's see what update favorites does. That's a function. Where is it? Update favorites. Oh, there it is. Update favorites. Update favorites is going to take our favorites list. It's going to join that list together, and it's going to put two new lines in between them. So it's going to make a list here, and it's going to have two entries. It's going to have like a not just a stack of 3 names of birds, but they're going to be a blank line. That's why there's 2 new lines here. Okay, so that's both milestone 4. So let's click to open the little arrow. Show me where. It's going to probably go to line 36 there. Yep. Use the append item function to add the selected bird's name to favorites. Okay, so we're going to need to add this to favorites. The bird name that's being displayed can be found at names index. Therefore, we can add this data to the favorites list as follows. Append item. So is there a append item block? That would be a UI control, right? Nope. Is it a control? No. Variable? Yep, variable. Append item. We're going to grab that, put it right here. Now we have to say what list, our favorites list. Favorites. Favorites. I spelled it wrong. And names index. So our names list, here let's erase, see if you can erase the quotations out of there also. Names, square bracket, index, other square bracket. Just click out of that. It should make it look like this. Now let's run it and see if it works. So can we add that to favorites? Yep. Let's click to a different one. Belted kingfisher, for example. Try to put that at position 2. Insert. No, see, this button doesn't work yet, but we got this one to work. It's just going to add it to the favorites. And append means it's going to add it to the end of the list. So whenever we click on this, it's going to add it to the end of the list. Now, why didn't that button disappear? The button should disappear after we've got 3 things in the list. At least that's how it worked earlier. Oh, here it is. Hide the favorite button. If the length of the favorites list is greater than 3, we're going to hide. So we need a hide here. Is that a UI control? Yeah, hide element. So we're going to grab that hide element, put it on line 38. But we need a if else first. So let's pull that out of there. We need a control if the length of the list, so that's the favorites list, favorites length, if the length of favorites is greater than 3, then we're going to hide the list. Let's see if we have it right there. Let's open the little arrow under number 2 in the instructions. Yep, we're in update favorites. Oh, we're doing that in the update favorites function. Oh, I'm so sorry. Let's pull the if out of there. Update favorites function. Oh, right here. It's got the hide element and the show element. So Write a conditional expression to place a true statement that will hide the add favorite statement if the favorites list already has 3 birds. So it's going to show element example. If the favorite's length is less than 3, oh, okay. So it's doing it a little bit differently than I was thinking. So type favorites length is less than 3. Then it's going to show the button, and otherwise it's going to hide the button. Okay? So let's reset it and let's run it, and then go ahead and let's click back to the goldfinch, American goldfinch, add to favorites, click forward, American purple gallinule. Alright, so let's see if we have this entire thing finished. We have got it so the favorite lengths, if it's less than 3, then we show, oh, we want to see if this is going to work. So let's reset it. Let's run it. It grabs the bald eagle because right now we have it set for index 5. Why don't we go ahead and click add to favorites, then click right to the belted kingfisher, add that one to favorites. It's going to add that one to the end of the list, and let's make a watcher. What are we looking at? We want to see what the favorites length is. I wonder if we can write favorites length down here as a watcher. Favorites.length. We can. So right now the length of the favorites list is 2 because we have 2 elements in there. And let's click to the right again. We get the black crowned night heron. We're going to add that to favorites. Black crowned night heron. And so we have a list of 3 things. We have the bald eagle, the belted kingfisher, and the black crowned night heron. And, oh, the button disappeared. That's exactly what we needed to happen. Did you notice that the button? I didn't even notice it happened. Okay, let's reset it. Let's run it again. Okay, so bald eagle, add to favorites. Why didn't it add it to the favorites? Oh, type error, pictures undefined. So let's reset. Let's run it. Why does it not put the picture in? Let's click left. Something's wrong with line 16, but I don't understand. I'm going to get rid of this watcher. I'm going to reset it. Line 16, type error, picture is undefined. Pictures. Did I accidentally delete pictures? No, there's the variable. I'm going to pause my recording for a second just so I can figure this out. Okay, I just ran it a couple times and I didn't see any more errors. So I'm not sure why it did that. Hopefully it's not doing that for you. If it is, just like reset it and run it, reset it and run it a couple times. Maybe it will work again. So add to favorites. Bald eagle's added to favorite. It shouldn't need the picture for that. Then right, belted kingfisher, add to favorites. Right, black crowned night heron. And as soon as we click add to favorites, then it should hide that image. Because which line are we in where it's going to hide the image? Line 48. It's going to hide the element. So as soon as we update favorites list, as the list is being updated, we could actually slow this down and take a look. So we're going to add this to favorites. So it should be up here working on adding to favorites. And, there it goes. It made the button disappear. Okay, I think we're done with this one. Test your code, scroll through the birds, click Add to Favorite buttons with 3 different kinds of bird, add 3 birds to the list, see if the Add to Favorites button disappears. Hey, why don't we do a favorites watcher? Favorites. Oh, yep, there's our list of favorites. Let's reset it. Let's run it. Reset it. Run it. Oh, it's on really slow. Let's put it on full speed. Reset it. Run it. Okay, bald eagle. Why don't we go to the beginning of the list? Left, 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 left. American goldfinch. Add to favorites. So it adds in slot 1, American goldfish, or next to the number 1, I should say. Let's go to the right. The purple galine. Add to favorites. There it is. Let's go to the right again. The American redstart. Add to favorites. There it is again. So we got it. It works. All right, great job following along with this. This video is almost an hour long, so we're going to stop right there. And then you can continue. We'll call this part 1 of the lesson, and you can continue on part 2. Great job working on this. Oh, don't forget to click Finish, and then Continue. And then Finish Milestone 4 is done. And we're on to Milestone 5. So you can go ahead and either stop right here, or you can click into Birds Milestone 5. Again, great job.